The engine is starting up.
For launch. GC, go. Guidance, go. Fido, go. Prop, go. GNC, go. Max, go. Eagle, go. Ecom,
go. Pending final steps. The cabin link check.
3, 2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN, putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Hello, everybody. How are you? Hi, Kath. I was too. It wouldn't load for me either. Let me get this music off. And yeah, I don't know what was going on, but let's hope everybody can catch up with us. But if not, it's on YouTube right now, so we should be okay. I was having some connection issues. So did I. It would not load. Yeah, it wouldn't load for me either. So everybody can come on in. We'll give them a couple minutes to get on here. I don't know what the problem was with it. Wouldn't load for me either, but now it's loading. So I'll check on Facebook and see if we are on there. But I was having a heck of a time getting on here. Maybe it's a restream issue. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's good right now for me too, I think. So it wouldn't load for me, but here's the thing. I got a great show tonight. It's breaking as we speak. Hi, Lee. Hi, Kathy. I hope everybody else can get on here, but it was hard for me. I had to keep editing to get back on. So maybe it's restream. Maybe it was my Wi-Fi. I don't know. It was weird. Let me check on Facebook. I'll check on Facebook. Let's see if we're live on Facebook. We'll see if we're on here live. I don't know. We were having problems getting on here. It doesn't show that we are on Facebook right now, so I'm not sure. I will give RNN a message. I'll send a message to I'll send Howie a message, tell him that we're only on YouTube. Because the last time, if you guys remember, Howie went in and fixed it for us. But nonetheless, yeah, Denise says it's not playing on Facebook. I know. I text Howie. Okay, Denise says too, hi Tammy, how are you? So anybody on Facebook, you need to switch over to YouTube because it wouldn't connect me onto Facebook. So let me try. Oh well, so I'm just going to go ahead and do the show, and people can jump on YouTube, and if not, then they can watch the playback on it. So welcome, you guys. Let me see what Suze has to say. Let me look. Okay, Susan's on it, so we know Susan, the producer, will fix it. She's coming in. Damn it, cut off. I know we're having some real connection issues tonight. I don't think it's my Wi-Fi. I had connection issues trying to hit go live too. So it's not, but it shows that I'm live on Facebook. Oh, okay. So Ryan said he had issues last night as well. Okay, so we're on YouTube, and what we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and do this. This is a huge story, so I want to make sure and get this info out for everybody. Let me see what Sue's checking it now. So if anybody can fix anything, it's Miss Susan. So Susan's, yeah, my show did not stream. Susan, okay. Can you guys still hear me? Put in the chat if you can still hear me, Tam. I'll tell you, nothing like a Wednesday night. Is Mercury in retrograde, you guys? What's going on? Let me see. We'll see what everybody's saying. Can you all hear me? Let me know in the chat. Okay, let me know on the chat. Did it cut off again? Let me check. I'm going to check on YouTube. Let's see if we're playing. Yeah, I can see myself. Okay. Let me know on the chat. Did it? Okay, yeah, I know we're on here. I could see myself on YouTube. What the? It's been this kind of a day. Okay, hi, Denise, I can hear you. I can only listen on YouTube. Get on YouTube. Okay, thanks, Miss Denise. Denise can hear me. It's been that kind of a day for me. Hi, Suze. Sue's in here. Let's get Sue. Let's add Sue in here and see whoops. What happened to Sue? I was going to add Sue in here and see what she had to say. Good now. Okay, I know. Okay, thanks, Tim. It might just be connections. Maybe there's storms. Hi, Lee. Lee's back in. It's good right now, Kathy. Okay, I don't know what it is. Weird. Okay, it's on Facebook now. Sue fixed it. You guys, everybody give Sue a clap. Sue is the bomb. Okay, so YouTube is back up. Back up on YouTube. Okay. Back up on YouTube. And Facebook. Okay, we're on. It's an overload. Well, it threw me and Lee. It threw me and Lee. Yeah. Hi, Miss Cindy. Hi, Denise. Yay, everybody's here. Everybody give Sue a hand because it looks like Miss Sue. Sue, the producer, is the woman. She can fix anything. Sue is Sue, and I was going to text Sue, but hello, happy Wednesday. Yay, we're on. So I knew it would be like this because my whole day has been like this. If you can look behind me, right, in my kitchen, you would not have believed what happened here today. So there was a drip in the ceiling last night, right? So I called the plumber today. Yay, we're back on. How it's because we're all giving Miss Sue clapping. Sue fixes everything for us. Sue is the best ever. Yes, we will, Miss Lee. Sue did it. Sue is the greatest. Thank you, Sue. I tried to get Sue on the stream, and she was being producer. She's the best ever. Thanks, Sue. She reconnected Rumble while I was in there as well. Sue is the bomb. Sue's the best ever. Thanks, Miss Sue. Lee says, can everybody say prayers for Matthew McDonald's mom and Kathy too? Absolutely. We're prayer warriors here. We will. You're more than welcome, hon. You're more than welcome. So, to make a long story short, back there, instead of a little drip of water come out of the ceiling, the whole pipe thing went, and it was like a waterfall. I hit about 4, maybe 3 inches of water in the kitchen. I've never seen like a pipe break. Don't ever let a pipe break, you guys, because even the plumber, he was freaking out and he said, I cannot believe how calm you were. And it was because I was thinking, who do we call? The police? Do you call the fire people? I didn't know what to do. So I just stuck. I didn't know what to do. We were soaking wet, but isn't that great? So I knew tonight would be a little weird because it's been a weird day. So, what's this? All set. Sue said, all set. You are the best. Sue, we have like a little private chat thing. And Sue says, you are the, I said, you're the best. Everybody give Miss Sue a hand. We'll give Sue another hand. Thanks, Sue. Thanks, Howie. Always praying for Kathy. I've got some news for you. Kathy, here, I was going to tell you this anyway. Look what I got, you guys. Kirsty, look at this. Kirsty's new book. She has added another level to charts. And when you see Kada's chart tonight, and I used Kirsty's book, you're going to flip. Because her book, and there's Kirsty right there. Kirsty's from Australia. She is the forensic astrologer. This book adds a whole new layer, you guys, to the chart interpretations. And when I used her book over the weekend on this particular case, on Kada's case, and then I was sitting here today, and there was a news conference this afternoon. Now remember, I did this over the weekend with Kirsty's book. I want you guys to keep this in mind when I tell you what was in the news conference today. So, Kathy, we're going to give Valerie another look now that I've got so much information. So that's on my list this weekend for you. And I was going to tell you tonight because I'm so impressed with this book. And Rue just got her copy. So I think Rue and I are going to be I'm probably going to go through all of my old cases. And I'm working on 3 other cases right now. But I wanted to make sure I'm going to go in and take another look at Valerie's, just because of the added element that Kirsty, with what has happened is Kirsty has done this for decades. So she took all of her wisdom and her intuition and has added another layer of knowledge to what she has taught us. Wait until you hear Kada's case. It's awesome news. It is so exciting. I really haven't slept much because, I mean, and this thing is gigantic. Look, you guys. Look how big this is. Look. I think it's about, let me see, 201 pages. It's great news for our search and rescue people. So, the ones I was working on for search and rescue, I said, hit the brakes, hit the brakes. I've got a new way of adding another layer onto what we've got. Let's get into Kada's case, because this case is breaking as we speak. As a matter of fact, right before the show, I was getting updated information on little Kada's case. So this case, you guys, Philadelphia, thank you. I got news on her missing son a couple of days ago, talking to him. Wonderful. I didn't know he was missing, Kathy. I didn't know he was missing, hon. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Lord, I'm so sorry to hear that, hon. But here you go, Philadelphia, Philly. I don't even know what to say about little Kada. This case, Kada went missing. Let's get into it, because I'm going to make this bigger for you guys. Beautiful Kada went missing on October the 4th. Kada's had just started. Oh, he was kidnapped. Jeez, you guys should have called me. She was too. Kada was too. Something's going on. So Kada started a new job recently at an assisted living. And she worked the 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift, the evening shift, to help with her college. She was just look at her, beautiful young girl, 23 years old. She went to work, and I'll show you. She went to work, clocked in, was wearing her black scrubs, and a couple minutes after she was on the clock, left. So just up and left. She got there about 9:45 apparently, and in about 20 minutes left. That's what the law enforcement was telling us. Her car was still in the parking lot of the center. Okay, look at her. Doll baby. Here's a picture of the center in Philly. It's called the Terrace. It's a beautiful assisted living. Look at this facility. So when I saw this facility, I thought, well, this doesn't seem like a place where just a perfect stranger would just abduct somebody. I thought, what was, something's weird here. So here's the road. She has been missing since October the 4th in Philadelphia, in the Mount Airy section of Philly. There have been searches. Her Apple Watch, her phone, and her keys have not been located as of today. So, but there was another news conference at 3 p.m. and I'll update you on that. So that's basically all we knew when I put together the chart. I used, the 9:45 time, because that was fairly accurate when she went to work. She's a good girl. And her mother had seen her right before she went to work. The family was out looking. Police were out looking. They had cadaver dogs. They had drones. They had everything. Her watch had pinged near a wooded area, which I'm going to show y'all on the map, and came up empty-handed. So I used Kirsty's new book. Wait until you hear this interpretation from what I looked up into her new book, and then wait until you hear what broke today. And that's why I'm kind of flipping out. So here's the chart, y'all. Now, we're going to pay a lot of attention to charts from now on because of what is in this new book. Okay? This is groundbreaking for forensic astrology. I am not kidding y'all. Kirsty is the best in the world. And it's taken her quite a while to write. I know she's been working on this book for quite a while. This is her second book. And she has outdone herself on this book. But as usual, the victim is, which would be Kada, is in the first house. She is the ascendant, right? What zodiac sign is the first house? It's Gemini, correct? What is the ruling planet of Gemini? It's Mercury. Kada is the pink arrows. So she's in the fifth house. Kada is in the fifth house. And I thought, what is that? That is like places that we go and enjoy. It's partying. It could be bars. It could be out having fun. It's like we've talked about, sports facilities. I thought she was at work. That would be the sixth house. So I was confused, but I trust the charts. I trust what's given to me. I don't question it. So the co-ruler is up. The moon, as you all know, is up in the 10th house. Makes sense. That's career. She was at work. So that's Kada. Okay? So when we interpret Kada, when Mercury is in the fifth house, it shows risky behaviors. It's the darker manifestation of the fifth house. Okay. What is the fifth house? It's like we say, it's things we enjoy. It's creativity. It's love affairs. It's children. So, because Mercury is the sign of communications. So she was on social media. It was a setup, some type of an invite that could have escalated. So in other words, that's the darker manifestation. It was communications. It was invites, setup, could have escalated. Okay. What else are we looking at here? Uranus is up in the first house with Kada. So in the first house, we've got Uranus. Unexpected, sudden event, erratic, and instability occurred. Could also be, and you all know this, near power lines, electricity, power lines. Okay, so we're still concentrating on Kada. Okay. So, the moon. Okay, the moon is up in the 10th house. So this case is going to draw a lot of attention. This is what the public sees, and it's already drawing attention. It also shows it's an emotional case for people. Well, she's a young, beautiful girl, but then it's disoriented. So she was disoriented. Something occurred. A female could know something. Moon to Mars. So I looked to see what was connected to the moon. The moon is connected to Mars in the 6th house of work. It's a 6th house of work. Moon to Mars is a workplace. Could be going toward the perp's house. Saturn is up in the 10th house as well, near her. Abandoned buildings out in the open, possibly near water. Isolated buildings. Cemeteries, quarries, could be near clocks. Okay? So let's take a look at the 7th house, which is the perp. So we go over to the green. He is the green arrows. And I put on there perp if one, because at the time I did this chart, I didn't know if possibly she had taken off. We didn't know, correct? We didn't know. Did she leave with somebody? Did she just take off? Was there stress where she just left? We didn't know. That's why I put perp if one. He's represented as Jupiter in the 2nd house. Okay? That's Sagittarius in the 7th house. Jupiter is the ruler. He could have flaunted some type of wealth because it's 2nd house. Exaggerate some kind of religious or fanatic belief systems. Now, as far as a physical description of this particular person, if there is a perp, which we know now there is a perp, could be tall. In proportion, they could, even if they're overweight, they're in proportion to their height. Dark hair, strong physically. So now we also get physical attributes out of this new book. Okay. Now Jupiter is aspecting Pluto. The perp is connected, as you can see, the orange arrow up in the 9th house. Secrecy, dark. Okay, so let's go to the 9th house, where that is. Ideological violence, dark teachings, taking longer distances. Around highways, which we've always connected Pluto to the highways, which are main highways. So she could she could have been taken to a longer distance across borders. We don't know. This is what the chart says. Let's see, what else do we have in here? Also, with him in the 2nd house, he possibly took something of value from the victim. This house also represents green in the 2nd house, possibly around parks, green areas, anything connected to the color green. Okay. Now we're going to look at the 5th house, because the 5th house has got Kada in it. Okay. Social media, flirting, texting back and forth, sets up to invite. The sun is in the 5th house, orange arrow, next to Mercury. He said something enticing to her. Something was enticing, supposed to be fun, and it turned very, very dangerous. The 6th house, we've got Mars. Danger in her everyday pattern, workplace, stalker. So here we go. He picked her up at her place of work. As you could tell, after I heard all of this stuff as it transpired today, I'm falling out of my chair after the flood and while the flood was going on. So that's what we've got. That's what I've gotten so far out of the charts. Okay. So, and I'm going to keep looking more and more. So today we had a news conference this afternoon. Okay. So here's the mapping I did. Y'all know about the mapping. So in the news conference, they had picked up an individual in custody that they got through, I think, through a lot of technical, the pings and all that stuff, and via the cameras. There's cameras all over the highways now, y'all. So they had a gentleman in custody, charged him with kidnapping, but they were asking the public for help in locating his vehicle. Now, he was charged with kidnapping because guess what? Back in January of this year, he had kidnapped a girl. There was some abusive things and some other things that occurred, and he, some abuse, etc., etc. And the DA charged him for kidnapping. However, they said today that the witness did not show up, so they dismissed the charges and he was set free. So now they're bringing back those charges because of what happened to Kada. So why didn't they press charges without the witness? I don't know. So they had several leads. They went to several places. And they said, in particular, they went to Southwest Philly. Well, as you can see, the nursing home is in the middle of the map. Look at the southwest portion of this mapping. There's some things in the southwest. There's some lines down there. So that's what we had heard on, I'm going to fast forward. Okay. They looked in this, see this pink dot up at the top? That's where they searched, which was fairly close to her work, but her watch had pinged there. A line comes fairly close to that area. Now, what they just broke this evening is they got a tip that there was an abandoned school. Remember what the chart said, abandoned buildings. Okay? They went all through the school due to a tip that was within the same area of the wooded park. So our chart and our mapping is pretty spot on so far as the news is breaking. Now, see that line? I'm going to have to find the school because it just broke. And then, okay, here's a picture of the car. It's a gold Toyota 1999 with PA plates. But since then, it just broke now, they have found the car. Somebody from a condo called in and they found the car. So I've got a place, it's called Gypsy Lane Condos. So I'm going to see if Gypsy Lane Condos comes up. Like I said, this is breaking constantly on the mapping. But remember, when using Kirsty's new book, the chart says abandoned buildings. Jupiter represents schools, and Jupiter is in the second house. We've got that. I think I'm staying very positive. The other girl that he kidnapped back in January, he let her go. I'm hoping that she is still with us somewhere in the vicinity, that they will find her. Wouldn't that be a blessing? And staying positive, because they're on top of this. So his car has been located and it's on Gypsy Lane Condos. And of course it was abandoned. So they went and got the car just right before I came on air. So we're going to find out if I'm sure they're going to process it and find out what's going on. The police said that every place that they were going to find him, he would elude them. They did find some items in the abandoned school. They found some things in the abandoned school that they think they can trace back to her. So the chart said specifically abandoned buildings. What was that? That's Saturn up in the 10th. Abandoned buildings. Next to the moon is the co-ruler. So go near where there's a clock. Cemetery, abandoned buildings. That's so I'm going to keep looking, and I'm going to work a lot more on the map tomorrow, because now that I'm getting more information, the car has been found. I can go back and look on the map for areas. How much you want to bet? And they said this abandoned school is close to this park, that it's down here somewhere in this line right here. They said it's not far from that area. See, and I pointed that out over the weekend when I did this mapping. I thought, look at that. It's close to where her watch pinged. Perhaps she was in the car. So that was the pink dot is the wooded area where they searched. And then I even just kind of, I kept going back to that spot by that wooded area. Now, the car, I guess if you can see, I made like a little triangle in that area because it was just, I was fascinated with that area. I bet that school was in that line. But here's the thing. They said he was driving all over the place, trying to elude them. So it's all gonna, we just got to hope they can find her. Just keep praying that she's found. So, but what I found so fascinating is I didn't know any of this stuff when I interpreted the chart at first, because they were keeping things. They really were still, it was breaking. You know, she disappeared. Now it's going on 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, it'll be 2 weeks this weekend. And but they weren't giving out much information, but they did pick up. They're moving quick. Philly police are moving quick. And I just think that he was picked up in January for kidnapping, but they didn't say, and I'm sure it's going to get out. You all know it's going to, how extensive a record this gentleman had, because we're seeing this so much with true crime now that these people are being let out repeatedly over and over. And it's not just in one area. This is happening all over the country, where he kidnapped a girl in January, and now look what happened in October. So it's going to be kind of neat with Kirsty's new book, because it's just a wealth of information that what she has given us. And it, like I said, it takes charts to a whole nother level of interpretation. And it hopefully it'll be give us a lot more clues. And just when the very first chart that I did, and I used her book, and then to hear it come out on a news conference the 3 days later, I flipped out, because I'm like, everything that was it said that. So there's a lot to go through on her case. It's just crazy. So it looks like I'm going to be going back in all my cases now. Gee, thanks. Rue and I are going to start going back in old cases and just digging in more. It's all here in her chart. Everything. The color green, parks, risky behavior. Crime of passion. He's charming. Has been on social media, texting with him, set up an invitation, and told her something very enticing. This is only a little 23-year-old young woman, beautiful young woman, supposed to be fun, and it turned out to be very, very dangerous. What I don't like is that 9th house, which is longer distance on highways. which that could be just a main highway or it could be a different state. We don't know. That's something that we just don't know. But we will keep everything crossed. I hope so. Fingers crossed she's being held and they find her soon. I hope so. Let's hope so. Absolutely. Keep a very positive, upbeat, that her parents were out looking for her. They were down when the police were searching for her in the park. And they're just devastated. This is a good young woman. I'm trying to see what else is in this chart that I might have missed, but I think I got it all. It really kind of took the perp. I think it's near water too, because it's up in the 10th. I'm going to look at the 10th house in Pisces. So there's around water. She's around water, but the abandoned building stuck out. It also stuck out because, a lot of people said this is out of her character. She was kidnapped. But then the whole chart continued to say they were in contact with one another. She knew that she went out to meet with this guy. So they were in contact, and social media, enticing, charming, and I thought, wow, but that seems like what is exactly what happened. That's what they're saying now. So, but the good thing is Philadelphia is on top of it, which let's hope they stay on top of this. And I think it's great that the community is really stepping up. They're checking cameras. They're calling in tips. The community is, and way to step up, Philly, just to find this young woman. So I'm going to keep looking at the map a little bit tomorrow. Abandoned building and basements. Yep. Saturn, basements. Abandoned buildings. And they went in the school and they did find some of her belongings, apparently. Now, that did not come from the police. That came from like somebody on the internet. It was like breaking news, So I have to verify that. But this story's breaking with every hour on the hour. This is one of those cases that's just continually breaking because, and that also said that in the chart that it was going to get a lot of attention because it's very emotional because she's just a beautiful young girl. So if anybody, I've shared on my Facebook page a lot of her poster. If you guys would just get on my Facebook page and share her poster around, like I said, there we go. There's her poster with the police department, the number, and just, even if we just share the poster around, that helps the family out as well. They're getting security footage coming in now. So I think this case, and again, when we have a loaded 10th house, like what we've got on her chart, she will be found. She will be, it's going to be, there we go. And look, the pink up at the 10th house is out in the open. And that is her right there with him. So I think that's interesting. We get a lot more out of charts now with Kirsty's new book because it's like, I feel like I've started all over again. But it's great. It just adds another layer to what we do, what we keep doing. So does anybody else have anything in the chat they want to share? I wanted to get this one out as quickly as I could. And Lee says those abandoned buildings, basements. Yes, and to process his car as well. Because, as soon as they process the car, they'll be able to go in and possibly see if anything's in the car too. Fingers crossed, Denise. And happy Thanksgiving to our friends in Canada. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving, everybody. That's wonderful. He was kidnapped. Well, I'm glad that you talked to him, Kath. 21 and a half years ago, he was kidnapped. Wow. Jeez. I got news on her missing son a couple of days ago talking to him. That's wonderful, Kath. That's wonderful. We'll say prayers for you, Kath. And I'm glad Sue got us back on. We were not thrown back on. Hi, Miss Cindy. How are you? We started off a little rocky, you guys, but we made it. We got through this. I will keep you guys updated on this case. I'm not sure if there's other cases. There's a lot of breaking cases coming out that true crime involved that again, something of interest with the JFK files. Apparently, back in the day when this assassination happened with him, Russia offered to give the U.S. government their intelligence and their files, which the United States government turned down Russia. 350 pages. Well, as of last night, those 350 pages were from our Russian ambassador, was handed over to Congressman Luna, who was in charge of declassifying all of these cases like JFK, MLK, RFK. She does the D-class. So she was going to be getting the Russian intelligence on the JFK assassination. 350 pages. Never been seen before. Never seen information. That's going to be good. You know, we don't have a good time for her, Lee, do we? I know I've done it. I know I've done it. I've done it a couple of times, but I don't know if we've ever had a good time. Have we? I know it's an old case. They always do, Tammy. Amazing. I bet it's solved quickly. Looks like a lot of people are getting involved. Well, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. I think they have, he did this back in January of this year. And, he was dismissed because their witness didn't show up. Well, so I think they're covering their tracks. That's just my opinion. But I think that I know if I were a mother and that were my daughter and he had done this back in January and was let go, I would be livid. I would be beside myself. But we just never know what, maybe they needed a witness. You went from the time the bus dropped her off. Send me everything again, Lee, if you can, because I don't know where it is. I know I've got it somewhere, but just send me the timestamps and everything and where she was dropped off at the bus, because I know it's an old cold case. But just text me. Send it to me again. Well, you guys, this is the only case I've been working on. I've been following it and keeping up with all the updates, and just really, let's all say prayers for her. Just a beautiful young lady that, 23 years old, and just a beautiful young girl. Just breaks my heart. I'm glad that the community's stepping up in Philly. Does anybody else have anything in the chat? We will keep on this case for Kada. Please share her information. Look at that doll. It's just heartbreaking. So I'm going to stay very, very positive on this case that they will find her. Let's keep our fingers crossed. So what I'll do for next week's show, because there's a couple other missing person cases out there. And I'm going to bring up some older cases that I did maybe 3 or 4 years ago and see if there are, with Kirsty's new book, if I can glean any more information out of the new book, that because this is like I've started all over again. It's so exciting. It's beyond exciting just with this new book of hers. So I'm going to take old cases that I've done and give them a second look. And I think that's wonderful. Wonderful news. Get that cherry stuff to me, Lee, and I'll look at it again. And then I might do that, like do our regular case that we've got. And then I'm going to pull up an old case that we've all looked at again and see if there's anything additional in the chart that I can add more to it. Because there's a couple of cases that I've done that they're just knock your head against the wall because you can't figure them out. There's one down in Tennessee with a father that was missing down by Knoxville. There's that case. There's the case that we've got with the boy. Do y'all remember with his dog was in the car and he went to the bar that afternoon? We've got that case. So there's a lot of cases that are just heartbreaking cases that you just want to just bang your head against the wall because we just can't get answers. No, I didn't, Lee. I didn't. Did you see the Halloween homicide cases I text? No. Will you send them to me again? It's been a little crazy with the flood. 2 weeks ago was the hospital. Now I've had the flood. This was not a flood, you guys. This was a waterfall. This was not. I've never seen pipes that break. I've never seen the pressure that comes out of a pipe when they break. And it was, you never want to see it. It's like, what in the hell? It's crazy. But it's all cleaned up. It's all fixed. Everything's good. It was the ice maker, by the way. It was the thing on the ice maker. It was that line. So at least it wasn't my hot water heater. I had a lot to be very thankful for. Father poisoned his child with a pixie stick. Oh, isn't that lovely? Jeez, that would be Neptune. Jeez. Sure, absolutely, I will. I'm going to look at all of them again. I'm gonna look at an old one a week. Absolutely, I'm going to, because there's stuff that she's put in the book that, like I said, it's just a whole nother layer. I mean, her method is excellent, but with this book, it adds more to the actual chart interpretation. It's just her years of doing it and seeing patterns. She's kind of done so many cases that she has seen patterns and using that because she's very successful at this. So she put it in writing and it's crazy. I told Rue, I said, we're going to be going nuts. We're going to look at Sebastian Rogers again and look at all of them. It might not show anything, but it won't hurt to look at them again. I've got Ann's and gave some to his friends, all for insurance money. That would be the 8th house. Yeah. People are something. Or criminals are getting bolder because they're getting out. They're getting released. They're very bold. We're seeing such an uptick in this type of crime because they know they're getting out. Criminals aren't stupid. You know what I mean? They know. They're letting people out. I've never seen anything like it. There are people that are walking the streets that have been arrested 38, 40 times, 50 times. These are professional criminals. It's horrible. Of course they're going to repeat what they did. That you can't, it's hard to fix some kind of people. So, well, you guys, oh, you're more than welcome. Motives are always there. Yes, they are, Miss Lee. And also down here where we know in every state this is happening. It's not just in one area, it's everywhere you look, where these kinds of crimes are occurring with women. Women, be careful. Be very careful, because this guy was a smooth talker. It was, like it said, enticed her for something. So, well, you guys, we'll look at a new case next week. I'll keep you guys updated on Kada's case. God love her heart. And I'm going to take a look at all the older cases, and I'll bring an older case in with our new cases every week. How's that sound? I'm excited with this book. It's just a whole new, I was so confident with how this chart read. I thought, I'm going to send this map up to Philadelphia police tomorrow. Just what the heck? What can it hurt? Nothing. The maps are so accurate. It absolutely can't hurt a thing. And the people in that area will know if that school or the condo is on this map and be able to tell. It's, I'm going to send it. It's accurate. I'll send that up tomorrow. So we'll see. Keep your fingers crossed. Oh, you guys are more than welcome. Awesome. Thank you. Oh, thanks you guys. Thanks you guys for tuning in. I wouldn't do it without y'all. We're in it. We're in it. So if you hear any cases during the week, text me and let me know too. Because I try to stay on top of them, and there's a lot going on, it seems like. So listen, have a great week. Be very, very careful this upcoming weekend. Happy Thanksgiving to our friends, our family in Canada. Have a great week, a great weekend. And I will talk to you guys next week. So have a great weekend and week, everybody. Thanks so much. Have a good night.